Welcome everyone. My name is Yamilette Cano and I'm the founder of Louder, but also an ambassador for female entrepreneurs worldwide. And our hashtag Ask You Anything Online Mentoring Sessions. As you know, these sessions are all about connecting expert industry leaders with our members to learn more about different topics and to be mentored directly on this platform. So we have our virtual events happening every week. So make sure that you look at our calendar because there's so many other coming during the next few weeks. Today, we're gonna be talking all about marketing and innovation. And I wanna really say that this is very exciting because our speaker, Celine Sciortino, she is the global head of marketing at APM Monaco. And she has over 20 years of experience in different industries. She's been with the automotive industry, now in luxury, fashion, with so many different roles: digital consumer journey, sales, marketing, brand strategy, omni-channel. So she has a lot of experience, and yeah, I know that she has a journey that has been very interesting because of this change of industry. So she's going to tell us more about that. She's worked in Japan, Korea, China, here in Southeast Asia, India, and also obviously in Europe. She's French. And I love the way that she's going to tell us today a story. It's not only about this exchange of knowledge, but she's going to tell us a story on how this marketing journey starts. From the product, it turns to the consumer, and then we're trying to give them an experience so they become almost evangelists of our products, ideas, and services. So I would like to remind you all a little bit of housekeeping today. If you want to ask a question to Celine, please don't be shy. You can type it on the chat box, the Q&A chat box you can see in your toolbar. Or if you would like to speak directly to Celine, just please let me know, kind of raise your hand, make a movement or something, and you can ask the question directly to Celine. Remember also at the end of the session, we have some time for more Q&A. And if it happens that today you're not able to connect with us, we're gonna have the recording for later on so you can learn from Celine and her experience in marketing and innovation. So without further ado, I would like to welcome once again Celine here with us. Hi, Celine, how are you?
Hi, thank you. I'm super happy to be here. I'm really happy to talk to you and to do this with you, Yamilette. So it's really a pleasure for me to be here.
Very happy to have you indeed. And I know you have a lot of things to tell us, but why don't we start with your background? I want to know, and I obviously want our members to know more about your background, because as I said before, it has been very interesting changing from industry to another, but you always said that once you're a marketeer, you're always a marketeer. So tell us more about that, Celine.
I would say that in a way, I didn't really choose marketing and kind of marketing choose me or something like this, because it was not something, and also because at that time we were not so much focusing on marketing, and marketing was not really a position. The thing is, I was always a creative child, and I was always craving on art, on movie, on media, on advertising at that time. And my mind was always wandering around. And in fact, I share a common trait with Japanese people. And I was always fascinated by the beauty around, like by the beauty of everything. And I really wanted to make things and people more beautiful. A bit like really how to make things more beautiful. And the thing is, I start like my career in Japan in Asia Pacific marketing department. And it was never about product. It was really about people. And it was always about how to engage a conversation. And at that time, I started my career in automotive, but working for Nissan in Japan. And they were very avant-garde on that, about how to put the people first. So, yeah.
And you say you have seen an evolution of marketing throughout your whole career, because it obviously started 20 years back. And the technology has changed so much, and I guess also the approach of how do we see marketing. Can you tell us more about on that specific evolution and the biggest changes that you have seen so far?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point because, as I said, when I was student and when I start working, there were no internet, so there were no, of course, Google, no Facebook, no Instagram, not most of the tool we're using now, and the marketing was really about the product, and it was just an evolution of sell. Before marketing, it was sell. Before it was production, but then we were at the era of the product. We were looking at competition, pricing, positioning, try to get everything about the product. And there were this quote from Henry Ford on automotive. It was like, a customer can have a car painted in any color he wants, as long as he gets it black. So the thing, it was not really about the choose or about the personalization, it was neither about so much the need of the consumer. It was about how to make the best product and compare to the competition, how to make it at the good price, how to make it attractive, and then how to build a campaign on that. And the consumer was out of this scope. It was really product centric. And the big change is now we move from product to consumer, and not just even consumer, we move to the consumer experience, which is even different. It's not about the person, it's about its experience, it's about its journey.
Would you say that having this knowledge from your historical background, it has helped you in this transition? Because obviously the entrepreneurs nowadays and the girls and boys that are starting marketing, they come from an understanding of what they see today. They know that technology exists and it's all about that social media engagement. But you having this background of starting without even the Google and internet, do you think that has given you an advantage to further see what are the possibilities?
I don't know if it give me really this advantage. I think the innovation and the technology today help us to better understand this consumer. And at that time, we didn't have this tool to really understand the consumer. It was about what the consumer would say. We had some survey and the consumer will say, oh no, I don't watch TV, or I'm listening to radio and I'm listening to this very intellectual show at the radio. It was about what they say. Now, thanks to the technology and innovation of social media, we know exactly what people are doing, what they're watching. We can even know if they're smiling when they see some video. We can even know what is their real reaction. And the thing is, today, it's really about the behavior of the consumer, and thanks to this technology we have a totally new world in terms of data driven marketing and information.
Okay. I like the way that you're positioning this, that it's all about now engaging with your consumer and creating that experience. And you did mention to me backstage that you have these steps, almost like a toolkit to understand how to get to that connectivity with your consumer. So you start analyzing, then you get your engagement, and then you have that connection with your consumer. Can you talk to us about these steps?
So the thing is, as I said, like for me, the marketing and the golden mine of marketing is really about the customer data. So all the data we could have from the customer. So we have, of course, our CRM, and we really need to analyze and really understand better our consumer. And then after, the thing is how to engage a conversation in one-to-one, how to really understand his need, his behavior, and really engage. It's the same as if you have a discussion with someone. Before, it was really a brand talking to someone and not taking care of who is talking to, and just saying, me, I'm the brand and I've got the best product and you have to buy it. I don't care who you are, I don't care what you're doing, but I know what you need. Now the thing, it's really about you and saying, hi, are you married? Do you have any children? What is your passion point? Do you like traveling? How much you spend time on internet? What is your behavior? What are even your beliefs? What are your really strong belief even in life? And what are your mantra and things like that? And knowing that, it's more like a discussion and saying, oh, I know you have children, and then we can do that for you and something. It's really how to engage a discussion. The same when you talk with someone getting interest in you, you get interest in them. And it's exactly what we need to do now in an authentic way.
So CRM, consumer relationship management, and innovation, would you say they go together?
Yes, they go totally together. Today, one example of innovation is we link our CRM with Facebook and Instagram. So today I can do a campaign saying, I want you, Facebook or Instagram, to target people having the same behavior as my CRM, which is a huge innovation for us because they know the typology of people. They can say, okay, this person, they will look at their behavior on internet and they know that they connect on the evening, and they know they look at pictures which are very bright, or they look at close-up picture when you see just one product and you don't see a face, or they look at some and a lot of travel social website, whatever. Then by knowing our CRM today, thanks to this technology, we can target prospect and new people with the same behavior or same revenue or same than our current database.
I once heard someone mention that with this, we are almost even creating or designing smarter. Does this affect, especially what you do in the fashion and jewelry industries, that you see all this data and then you adapt, or your designers adapt to the consumer engagement and the way that they react and their behavior, or you still have that freedom of saying, okay, perhaps this hasn't been the most bought piece, or we haven't had that big of a sale of this specific earring or bracelet, but the designer still wants to showcase that. Would you still have that creative freedom, or it's all about this data driven engagement?
Alors, in APM is something quite specific because in APM, all the creative come from the branding, so from our creative director. And the thing is, what we want in APM is our creation to be totally independent and not to be, I would say, disturbed by any data or things like that. So we have 2 collections per month in APM Monaco, and these 2 collections per month are kind of protecting from the rest of the world. They're really only about fashion. They're only about mood board, about trend, about what's going on in terms of fashion. And the thing is, they don't even, I would say, which can seem unique, but they don't even look at sales. They don't even look at what's going on the market. They won't, because we have this, of course, we have our DNA product all year long, our bestseller all year long, but the collection we're doing 2 times per month, which is quite unique, and to keep this fashion jewelry, is protected of that any data.
Okay, so that sounds like a very nice way to strike a balance between sales and CRM, and then still keeping that creative soul and mind with your teammates. And as an entrepreneur and someone that has a product and even a service, I find it myself sometimes very complicated to decide, oh, okay, should I invest a lot in Facebook advertisement, or should I go to IG? Do I produce more videos? Do I put an advertisement campaign and pay for some TV air, or I go for print? In an international global company like yours and with your experience, what would you suggest or give some advice to our entrepreneurs? How to find that balance in saying, okay, do I pay for this or that? Do I go for free advertisement? Because I do know that in APM, you have a very specific way to create your campaigns, which is internal, and to engage with your KOLs.
Yes, completely right. So if I talk about APM Monaco, it's a really unique way where we start really our business. And from the beginning, I mean, I would say even 10 years ago with this KOL program. So APM Monaco was really avant-garde, I think, in this KOL, micro KOL program. Mm-hmm. And in order to also engage micro KOL, which are, for me, the best ROI you can have, we needed also macro KOL, and we needed celebrities. Thanks to celebrities, you have macro KOL who want to work with you, and thanks to micro KOL, you have micro KOL who want to work. So it's a kind of a full process where you need to have all the tier KOL in order for this program to work. Micro KOL is one point, but what I would say is for entrepreneurs today in a digital way, I would say for me, it's first about the SEO. It's really about, for me, the search engine is number one. Is if you have something to do, is really about search. People are searching today. They're searching on Google, but not only on Google. You have YouTube, which is really big, but you have Pinterest, you have the searching on Facebook and Instagram. I think post and organic is one point, but today people are searching. We are in a searching era. People are searching what is the best present. They're not searching words, they're searching sentences. What will make my girlfriend happy? What is trendy today? What I should wear with my jacket? And what it's really about this searching word on different platforms. And for me, the first thing is about SEO. How your website, if we're talking e-commerce, it's reference. What are the wording behind your picture? What is the wording for the descriptor of your HTML? What is, do you have a blog? Even if blog look a bit old-fashioned, it's super important. The wordings you're using, do you write a good English or French or Italian or whatever? And the thing is, this whole Google machine is ranking the speed of your site, is ranking the wording you're using, the descriptor you're using, and everything. And that is fundamental about SEO. And second step is about the SEA and all the search engine advertising you can make. How do you select the good words, the good sentence, and things like that? That for me is really the minimum, even before spending any money on Facebook and Instagram. If you have like $1, you have to spend your $1 on SEM and all the search engine marketing. And then if you have $2, yes, you have to have a great customer database. You have to do some advocate like KOL or have this type of program with a strong PR. And by gifting your product to the right people, that would be my second dollar. For the third dollar, I would say, yes, you can start doing on Facebook and Instagram, but you have to start very small. And because Facebook and Instagram is only about test and learn. So the thing is this, you cannot say as in Google or search engine, I'm coming with this amount of money with a campaign. Here you really on the search, test and learn, sorry, because it's really about, it change every day, change every minute, it change with the content. If it's a one picture, if it's a carousel, if it's a video, if it's a GIF, what is the content about? What is the caption and what is the descriptor of your campaign? So things are changing, and then you cannot plan anything on Facebook and Instagram. So it's really something can work, but as it cannot work with a different visual. I don't know if I'm really clear, but
yeah,
for me, it will be my last spending, I would say.
Okay. So it sounds like now, obviously, we have to change direction and the way that we see marketing. As you were saying before, product great, then we might have great sales. Now, even if the product is great, but the story behind it and the work that us entrepreneurs and anybody working in a company put with the time that we put on in order to create that story, it's very important. Even if we have a okay product, but if the story is great and the marketing behind it, it's super, then we might get ahead of the curve. As this what you're saying. And it's also being a little bit more mindful of how do we spend, not going around and just buying advertisement without any structure.
Yeah, exactly. And as we were talking a bit, like some thought about Steve Jobs, which I think it's always, but it's still it was again very early in his thought on marketing and everything. And he was saying, and which tell us a bit the story we were talking about. First is really to make a great product. And it's true that it was really about the product itself and things like that. But after is you don't sell a product, you sell a dream. And it's about the story you tell with this product to people. And then is to focus on experience. And it's what we say, it's about not the consumer itself, it's really the consumer experience more than the thing. And an interesting point is really to turn consumer into evangelists. And that's the key point. And which could be consumer or prospect, but how to make people talk about your brand. And the thing is, if we all think about the last product we bought, all of us, it's about someone telling us, oh, I've been there, or I bought this great lipstick, or I love that brand, or it's either on digital or either on face-to-face, but it's really about this recommendation and how people talk. Or it could be not someone you know, but KOL that you're following, or a celebrity you love, or someone you watch in a movie. But the thing is really about someone telling you and being an evangelist about a brand. And the last point is really about the master of the message. And depending of your message, then you can pick the right support. But if you don't have a strong message and an authentic story to tell people to make them dream, there is no need to spend money on any story, because yeah, you will spend some money, but they will not have this magic connection and building this one-to-one discussion.
It sounds like we must have, as brands and individuals, a very clear message and communication of what we want to achieve, and have it very intentionally put on the table, so then either ourselves or someone else can do it justice. I wanna talk to you about your change of industry, because a lot of people think, okay, once you start in an industry and then you change to another one, then everything changes. But from what I've heard from you, once you're a marketeer, you're always a marketeer. Marketing doesn't really change that much despite the industry you're working in.
Exactly. I think if you have this passion of people and how to deliver a message to people, it could be any product message, I would say. For me, the change was a totally 360 change. I moved from an automotive, total industry, then a Japanese company. So it was really about, I worked a long time in Japan, but the thing, it was really about Japanese industry of automotive. I moved to a fashion, south of Europe, Monaco, Italian, a family business at the origin. So it's a total change. But then my work at the end of the day stay exactly the same, and the mechanism is exactly the same. Okay. And as you were talking, you have this customer database that you have to analyze, you have to understand your consumer, you have to understand your prospect, you have to understand what they're looking for, what drives them. And then after, you need to take the right product and message to try to engage a discussion and try to find who inspired them and put your product to the people who inspired them. But then the thing is the same, and it could be a car, it could be a earring, it could be a necklace, or it could be even a banana or some food or some washing product. The mechanism is the same.
Okay, so that gets me to my next question, which is global campaigns. What are the tips to create a global campaign? Because obviously with this new era and the digital era, that we can touch so many consumers around the world. It doesn't matter if we're not physically there. So it's one of the great things about digital communication and marketing. But creating these global campaigns, I would like to know, obviously, your tips, but also your experience with your KOLs and your vision, because I also know you have a vision of digital marketing is important, but we must not forget the face-to-face interaction and way of doing marketing.
The thing is about global campaign, it really depends. If I look at my previous experience, when I was my previous job just before APM, I was head of global strategy for Infinity, the luxury brand of Nissan, and it was about global campaign. At that time, we choose to have, I would say, regional campaign. We used to have some campaign for US, we used to have China campaign, and some European campaign. And we didn't really find ourselves the way to have this global one message campaign. Okay. And the thing is, if I look at APM, the strategy is really to have one campaign. So we have one campaign per month, one celebrity that we spread globally. And today, I would say, in order to have this strong brand, because we did this study in China. China, it's always a subject, because when you have a global campaign, you always think, oh yeah, but China, they want to see a Chinese face, or they want to see an Asian message. But then when we did a survey last year for APM, when I arrived, all the people we interviewed, they were all saying they don't want really to see an Asian face, or they're not really, of course, if there is a KOL wearing the product, they like it because it's someone they like and they know. But the thing is, for them, it's again about this dream part. It's again about the message you're sending. And when you have a strong message, it resonates globally. It resonates worldwide. Most of the time when you see a movie will make you cry, it's a worldwide feeling. I mean, it's something, you cannot say, oh, it's because Chinese, they want to see someone Chinese to make them cry. It's not true. It's really about the strong message in an authentic way. And I think when we see our campaign, we have some campaign which work because of the model, because of the story, and some campaign which don't work because for us, we realized some of our campaign, we need to be more glamorous. And when we want to be too much rock style or a bit underground, it doesn't work so much, because people for APM Monaco, they're really looking for this glamour part. But we see that if a campaign by the message work in France, it will work also in Italy, it will work in US, and it will work in Canada and in China. It's really about this message, to master the message and to really sell dream. And I'm back to this Steve Jobs things.
Yeah. And how do you decide between this regional or global? Us as smaller businesses, how do we choose? Is it all about this asking for feedback and doing your research, or is there anything else we must do in order to decide what type of campaign we should take?
On that, if I have something, I would say for me, it's I prefer to go on a global message to have a stronger brand, and to go for one global message and have one global campaign instead of regional campaign. And again, it's really about the message you're sending to the people. But again, I think it's very interesting to study, to interview, to understand better. And if you have regional counterpart, to really ask them. We work us a lot, and that is an APM thing, is to work a lot with our retail team. So when we do campaign, we really ask our retail team what they think. So when we work with KOL, for example, we used to have a strong program in China on KOL. And then, as you know, I love this offline experience. So all the online KOL, we wanted to invite them to our shop and to make some events, to make them present our collection. And by doing that, we had some very negative feedback from our retail team in China, because they were saying, the girls that don't really match with our value and things like that. Then we realized we didn't select the right KOL. And I think the retail team, they were right. So then we changed totally from an agency to an in-house recruitment in China. So today we have less KOL in China, but we have a stronger relation with them, because us as a brand, we're picking them, we engage a conversation, same as with our customer. And then we have perhaps, we're going in a better direction thanks to the retail feedback.
Okay. Tell me more about that engagement, about your digital strategy and your offline strategy, and finding that balance. Because with the marketing nowadays, with all this innovation, a lot of brands are choosing just to stay digitally.
For us, I think, as I said at the beginning, I start from a totally offline world and to a total online world. And I think today we're more in a hybrid direction. Okay. So we cannot be totally online, because first of all, we have also, I think, a real issue in terms of ROI and how to really understand what you get from a totally online, especially with all this Facebook and Instagram campaign. But the thing is, today what we realize is, and if I'm back to this KOL example, we had this totally online virtual world with KOL posting and talking about us. Then we start engaging them to some shop opening, some collection launch, and also for live streaming. And then we get to meet them, and we ask them to come with friends and to meet our retail team. And it's where I think the magic starts, is when the online comes to the offline and we have this physical experience. And I especially think in this time, with everything happening around us and where we're totally virtual, same with us, it's really this need to have this face-to-face connection and to meet people and to really see them in real. It's what we say even for us, Yamilette, like saying, we have this virtual discussion and we should have also this physical lunch with all the people we're meeting, and then get this online to offline experience.
Okay, so we must never forget the offline. We still, as human beings, are in need of that interaction. And you're saying that you started working with an agency in China, and have you ever worked with an agency here in Hong Kong? Because I know you do everything internally. So what's the difference between working with an agency and turning all your marketing plans and strategies from an internal point of view? And if you were to work with an agency, how do you choose them?
Alors, coming from a world again in automotive with agency, driven by agency, where I think I used to manage perhaps 10 different agencies. So coming from a total agency, so we used to have an agency for media, an agency for digital, an agency for strategy, an agency for market intelligence, an agency for to deal with our agency, because we're the agency managing the agency. And then having this word of, and I think that time was really the same as if you go to see a doctor, they're asking, okay, where do you have the pain? So, and then you have one agency for each part of your body. So, and you can't find one agency doing everything, because then you have a China agency, a US agency, a European agency. So European digital, European media, Europe. So that was a bit crazy word. On that. Today in APM, something specific is everything is done in-house. The creation is done in-house, our production is done in-house, our campaign are done in-house by the branding team. And for the marketing, most of the media buy are done also by us. Where I want to keep agency is for the innovation part, because I think for most of the thing, especially if you are in small size and in an entrepreneur, you are the best to know exactly your message, and you the best to really talk about yourself. And giving your budget to an agency who's got many different customers, and I would say in all my experience, every time I receive a presentation from an agency, I know more or less it's a copy paste. They change the logo and they change something, but they've done the same speech to many other brands. So, but I think for me, agency keeps some value in terms of innovation. It's very difficult for us when we are in our everyday business, driven by sales, driven by all our day-to-day mission, to really keep an eye on innovation, to really know what's going on and things like that. So on that is true. It's important to keep an agency for this innovation, and also speech and talk like this to meet different people and to understand. And it's the only way for us to have a window on the outside.
What are the golden rules of the modern marketing? I know you have spoken about this before, but if you were to encompass everything in one sentence or a couple of bullet points, what would you tell us entrepreneurs to really go step by step? And if I have to create a marketing plan and strategy today, where do I start?
I think for me, it starts with a clear message. And it starts, I remember someone, and I didn't think about this question, and it starts with someone, if you are a brand or if you sell a product or something, it's really about, if you lock in a lift with someone, what you will tell about your company. What do you want someone to remember about your company? And why have you done this? What is your purpose? Mm-hmm. I don't know, to make people more beautiful, or your purpose is to save the planet, or your purpose, it could be making money or whatever, but really about your own purpose, and what is your clear message, and what do you want people to say about you, what is unique about you. And I think something for me, it's really to choose how to be unique. And again, looking at the past is not so much about competition, is I think is you need to be different, and innovation should lead you to think different and to think bigger, and innovation should help you to be different. And then when you have this clear message and how to express it in an authentic way, how you can start make people dream about your story and say, okay, my story that, and people are captivated like a teaser of a movie. And then from that point, you can pick the right channel to talk about. But your channel cannot be totally online. Your channel could be online and offline, and really think about this customer journey, and really think as yourself as a consumer. And when you're a consumer, you don't buy something because you saw it on Instagram. You've seen someone wearing it because you like this person and you follow this person. Then you get an advertising about this product, and then you go on the street and you see a pop-up store with this product, and then your favorite shop sells this product, and then you can see an out of home about this product. You see an article about this product, a celebrity wearing this, and you need to be touched at least 3 times by a product before you buy it. So we should stop thinking, oh, I seen an Instagram post and I buy this product. Yeah. It's really the repetition of the message about a consistent, authentic message.
Oh, I love that quote when you're saying repetition, consistency, and it's almost like this movie teaser, which it's right. When we're going to go and watch a movie, we're always like, okay, I want to see the trailer. If there's no trailer, not sure, unless someone gives me a review about the movie. It's a great way to put it together. And all the time, I'm going to open the floor for questions. And you know who I'm going to ask? Rachel, I'm sure you have a question for Celine. Rachel is joining us from Canada. She is a constant member that joins our online session. So that's why I know she's always having questions for us. Rachel.
Hi, Celine. It's great to meet you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. Very interesting about the importance of SEO and everything. And just a quick question for you. How do you convey the same value and prestige to your customers online that you would normally convey in person? Because in person, it's a lot simpler, because when your customer goes to the store, they get greeted with a smile. Often, if they're a high value customer, they'll be greeted by name. And then, of course, they're paying for the whole experience, the ambience of the store, the whole experience of going into the store. So how do you convey that similar value and prestige online?
Rachel, I think it's a great question, and it's my biggest challenge, I would say, today in APM Monaco. It's really, really a key point for us. APM Monaco, in this specific case, has built its business really on the offline, on the boutique experience. And we have 300 boutiques today in the world. But then when you go inside a boutique, you have exactly as you say, you have this greeting, we have a special coffee, we have a special chocolate, we have all the process on how we treat our customer. And then the struggle for us was really about the online and about the e-commerce experience. And we see it in China because we have big platforms like Tmall or JD. We are on Red, on Douyin, WeChat, of course. International, we also have our international website. But then today, our main issue is how do we get this experience? So we start by this 360, and we start by having an experience like you immerse yourself in the shop. But then we didn't have the human person to welcome you. So then we have to have the chatbot and saying, okay, we have someone when you connect online to say, hi, I'm Celine and I welcome you on this. But then it's again an issue. Today we are going, and it's again a test and learn thing. So today really our challenge is there, how to duplicate this offline experience on the online. And we will try today to kind of mix both, which is a test we're going to do. It's really to how to bring our salespeople on the online, and perhaps to have a kind of a conciergerie or something that online, when you connect somewhere, you can get a face-to-face, like a FaceTime, a Zoom meeting or something with a real salesperson going to welcome you and doing the same as what we're doing now, and perhaps show you some product and make you visit the closest shop. And because I think it's really the most important thing in this time right now, because to be honest, we have today most of our shops in Europe which are closed, and this happened without us planning it, because 2 weeks ago our shops were open and then they closed. So we need also for all these salespeople to find a new way of selling product and bringing this luxury experience on the online. And I would say we still don't have the answer because we still are in a test and learn phase, but this is a fundamental point today for us.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's so important, especially now in these crazy times, to have that face-to-face feeling without physically being face-to-face. Because I mean, in Canada too, we just went into our 4th lockdown, so all the shops are closed down. But I think it's something interesting for brands coming forward to have that face-to-face feeling online. So I think that's a great idea to do sort of that person-to-person interaction in an online aspect. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Celine. And on that point, you're saying that you're almost planning your strategy marketing journeys day to day. You used to have yearly marketing plans and strategies, and now you're doing it every week, or how has this changed?
And the thing is due to 2 things. First is because of this current situation where, as you know, for example, we cannot plan like event. Imagine like if I had planned event this week in Rome, it will have been canceled and things like that. So we need really to, because of the current situation, we need to adapt ourselves to shop being open or closed. And then if France is being closed, then we will increase our online investment because we want people to go online. And if the shop are open, we do our offline or trade marketing event and some CRM and emailing operation. So first, because of the situation, and second, because of the tool. The tool itself today, it's quite challenging. If we talk about this Facebook and Instagram tool, today the binding, because we bind when we do advertising online, change every day. So the price of a click is different today than it was yesterday. It depends on the other brand going on the market. Let's say for us, if we have other jewelry brand going to bind on the same target customer that we've done, the price of the click will be different, or the price of the add to cart, or the price of the purchase will be different. So you really need to adapt day per day. And now we have agency also having this tool which work 24 hours on 24. But I would say a marketing spending is changing minute per minute. Where before we used to buy an out of home or a radio or a TV slot, you knew the price depending of the time, depending of the audience, but then you had the price and you knew more or less how many people would be connected at that time. Today with Facebook and Instagram, it's kind of a gambling which happen minute per minute. And so yes, you need to be super nimble, and you really need to be super open to totally change every minute. And it's where I think on the China market, they're very good on that, because most of the China marketer, they really work on that way of being super nimble and adapting every minute change and everything, which was more difficult for European at some point.
That almost sounds like trading, you know. You have to be on top of your game all the time. And the financial department has to be together with the marketing department. Do you see that finance and marketing are working closely together now?
We're working super closely today, and it's really a good point, because I think even this last month I never worked as close with finance. It's because also it's a kind of, as you say, a trade is really like a binding. So we need to have a budget, and also we need to be super careful on all these platforms, because financial mistake can be done very easily. Because when you do an advertising on Facebook and Instagram, you have to put an amount of money, and then it's really manual. So you can put an extra zero, or you can put the wrong target, then it go very fast. So I think today, because of these new tools of media, finance get involved more, because of course you need to have more control of the spending. Because before we used to have a spending with a special amount, and then you pay at the beginning of the month or on a yearly base. Today, it's an amount that changes all the time, and it's really, you need to have a lot of controller today on your spending.
Does that affect the way that you hire people? Would it be fair to say that now a marketeer needs to know more of finance and agility than before? And would you decide to hire someone, for example, that has that expertise versus someone that it's only focusing in marketing? Because I feel that that's a great opportunity for a lot of people that are now studying marketing, have a different vision on what is going to be your role description.
I think for me, we used to have this belief about marketing, about creative. You needed to be a creative person, really 100%. I think for me, the first quality of a marketer is empathy. I think you need to like people. You need to like people, like to really, and it doesn't make you better or worse than any other human, but I mean, it's really about being empathic about every single person and want to know more about them. And it's really about this, more important than finance, or more important, of course, you need to be an analyst and to have some finance background and some, creative. But if you have people and you look at someone and you really want to know why they're driving this car and what equipment they have inside, and perhaps about all the environment and belief, for me, it's really about the people and touching people with your message. And that would be the first,
Marketing with empathy. I really like that statement too. Celine, to wrap up the session, I would like to ask you your last word that you would want to leave us with in this moment in time. You were talking about marketing, being empathetic, telling a story, creating dreams, having this repetition, and being continuously giving us the same message, so we can create that consistency that we want for people to tell our stories the way that we want them to be told. So what are you going to leave us with today, Celine?
I think for me, it's really how to in English to say, but to really understand that you don't know it. And last time, you know, when we had this speech, I remember I was like to say, oh, it's we don't really, we need to test and learn, but I don't know. And then people were like, oh, if you don't know anything, why are you here or something? But it's not that. It's really to think that you don't get any belief. And the thing is, because as we just discussed during this time, the world is changing. Marketing is completely different, and it will be completely different again. So you need to really adapt. And then sometimes you think you know people, but you don't really know them, because you will see, oh, I see this person. For example, in targeting, something which is very interesting is sometimes, because we're doing jewelry, we think, oh, I should target people who get interest in jewelry. But then sometimes you as a person, you don't, how to say, you don't describe yourself as someone who likes jewelry, which means perhaps you don't follow any jewelry brand or something, but you love jewelry. So the belief of people, what they think you are, is perhaps not. So you need to have a really open mind, and you need to really try to understand. And again, like the people you're talking to, this empathy word, to really understand who they are and what is really resonating to them, what is important to them. Because perhaps sometimes it's perhaps pet lover, people who got pets, and I know Yamilette, you part of them. But for example, if you see, for example, some campaign where we target pet lover, these pet lovers, they're really into that, but there are also a big consumer online or some jewelry, and you also get a great example on that, Yamilette. So the thing is, if we look at you, for example, if we look at you just on an angle of fashion and things like that, we will perhaps miss the point. But we need to better understand you and what you really like and who really count for you and what is important in your life, where again, your personal life, about Pepe, for example, or, you know, about things that really matter for you. And then if we start talking and engaging a conversation with you about things that really matter, we can really get this stronger one-to-one relation and then propose a message to you that resonates for you.
By the way, Pepe is my dog. And it's all about passing that superficial level. So we don't want to stay there and go deeper, and not being afraid of showing that. It's that relationship between consumer and our brands, but also the brands and the consumer. So bouncing back, us as consumer, opening ourselves more and being more transparent and honest of what we like, so we can get better exposure, or we can get better targeting in our advertisement, and also brands understanding ourselves. So openness, transparency, storytelling, and repetition, and having that movie trailer very clear, so we know what we want, and our brands also know what we want as consumers. So these are the things that I will leave you with today. To wrap up this session, we'd like to thank Celine. Remember, if you want to connect with Celine later on, please go to the Female Entrepreneurs Worldwide diverse platforms. We have the IG, Facebook, there's the website. We have some comments here. Thank you to Celine. The link for our session today is being shared. And remember that we have more sessions coming up. Again, once again, to all of the members from Female Entrepreneurs Worldwide, Nia, to be organizing these, Ines, Anna, all the people behind the scenes, and you to connecting today with us. And my name is Yamilette. I'll see you next week, and hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your week and upcoming weekend. Thank you, Celine.